Hi, this is Sharon from craftyandcreativeideas.blogspot.com. I'm here today to bring you another one of my Wow That's Cool videos from my series. We are going to be making the card from the Vivid Vases stamp from the Occasions catalog. And I do have that right here. This only comes in wood, but the reason mine's in a DVD case is I clear mounted it, bought the foam from Stampin' Up, and I remounted it because I just prefer to storing my stamps clear mounted. But we're going to be using, as you can see, the backgrounds on these. Let me zoom in for a little bit for you. Whoops, wrong way. You can see that I've got a lot of little patterns on my vases, and I did that with my 6-sided sampler stamp set and also my gorgeous Grunge. So we'll get started here and get you going so you can hurry up and make one of your own. Okay, I started out this card with a card base, a Whisper White card base, and it's 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, or if you want to say 8 1/2 by 5 1/2, and then you score it 4 1/4. The next layer that I used was Tangerine Tango, and that was cut at 3 1/2 by 4 3/4. And then I used a layer for my sediment to stamp on a sediment, and that was 3 1/4 by 4 1/2. You're going to need probably 2 of these, because either that or a real scrap piece that's very close in size, because you're going to need to stamp 2 sets of your Vivid Vases. To save time on this card, I already stamped 2 copies of mine already. One on the cut size of the cardstock that I need, and just one on a piece of scrap because we're going to be cutting this one up. And to save time, I have also taken my Tangerine Tango, and I used my Grunge stamp set, and I used this stamp, and I went all around just randomly with Tangerine Tango ink, and I stamped the background just so it had a splattery effect. I don't know if it's showing up in the camera at all, but it's just a splatter effect all over the back of it, just to give it a little bit of color, but not much, you know, a little bit darker shades. Okay, we're going to be using pieces from the 6-sided sampler set, and I'm going to start out with my plaid. That one scrap piece, what you want to do with your vases is cut them all into strips. Okay, so they're separated. And then I'm going to take the one that has the plaid, and I'm going to put this close to the edge just so I can. And now you're going to ink this up with Gumball Green, and just go inside your vases and stamp a pattern, just randomly. And while I have the green ink out, I'm also going to take my polka dot one, because that's what I used on the middle. And I'm just going to stamp on that vase too. And different shading, actually, if you miss in parts, it's actually nice, because most of the time vases are not totally even. Now for the little one on the end, what I did was I took my Daffodil Delight, and first I just put some shading of some yellow under here. It doesn't matter if you go out of the lines, because you're going to be cutting this off anyways. Okay, so we take the Daffodil Delight, and then I took my striped pattern, and once again I used the green, my Gumball Green. Now make sure that your direction of your stripes, you know, you want to just look at which direction you want these to go on here. I only hit the very bottom of this, and then I did the very top. Okay. Then, I didn't even mount the Gorgeous Grunge. I just took this piece, Daffodil Delight. Because I only need a half of this, so I don't need to even block it. And then just press it all over my vase. Just to make some random little lines there. Now, on this particular one, what I did was I took a blender pen that I had, and I just soaked up a little ink, and always kind of smudge it off on the side of the paper first, and I just kind of colored. A little shading. And then just do some highlighting with it. That looks pretty good. Clean that off. Okay, so now we have our vases. So now what you're going to do is you're going to cut out all of these vases, eliminating all of the flowers and etc. All you want is the vase up. So, okay, just about done cutting these out. There we go. Okay, once you have that cut out, then we're ready to start assembling things. So we're going to take our stamped image. Now the first one, the first vase, I actually used a little Tombow glue. And just tape this on, glued it on top of this one. And actually when I did the coloring, it was on the permanent one on that one vase. Sorry about that. The next one, I used a piece of a scrap of dimensional, and I popped that onto the center vase. Then the next one I glued the yellow again with the multi-purpose. And then the last one I popped. Let's see, a little piece of paper. Okay, then I took my markers, Daffodil Delight, Tangerine Tango, and Gumball Green, and I colored in. I'm going to try to zoom this in a little bit so that you can see what I'm doing here. I colored in the petals and the flowers. I'm going to get all the orange here first and the tangerine, and then I'll switch markers. Okay, and I did my Daffodil Delight in the center. Change in here. And I also took a little bit of Gumball Green over this a little bit. And I took a little daffodil in the center of this and the outside of this one. All of the leaves were done with Gumball Green. And I traced over the lines a little bit just. Oops, I forgot a flower. Okay. Zoom back out. Well, let's zoom in and you can see exactly the flowers. Then we'll zoom back out. Okay, that's it for the top layer for right now. Now we're going to take our card base, and I just put a little snail on the back of the tangerine. Go. The next layer, I put dimensionals on the back, and I popped that onto Tangerine Tango. And then the dimensionals get popped on the back of the top layer onto the white frame. Now you could leave the extra white frame off, but I really like the white frame behind it. Just boxes it all in. So there you go. There's your Vivid Vases made with the 6 sampler stamp set for all your little patterns. Really cute little card for Easter, for Mother's Day, whatever, spring, but a lot of things you can do with that stamp set. To be real honest with you, when I saw that stamp set in the catalog when it came out, I'm like, oh, that's one of them I don't need to run out and buy. But the more I thought about it, how many cards, how many different types of cards I could make with it, and how many occasions that it would fit, I ended up giving in. I'm just like, and I'm so glad I did because I really like this one. I hope you enjoyed this video. All of my supplies are listed on my blog at craftyandcreativeideas.blogspot.com. If you've enjoyed this video, if you could give it a thumbs up or leave a comment, I sure would appreciate it. And until next time, God bless.